she combined these qualities with warmth, humor, and an unerring ability always to see the best in people.
According to royal commentators, King Charles has reportedly just made the most consequential decision of his reign, and insiders who understand how the monarchy actually works say they're stunned, not because it was unexpected, but because of what it allegedly reveals about what's happening behind closed palace doors right now. Princess Anne, the press largely overlooked for decades, the one who never chased a headline, is said to have just been handed the keys to the kingdom. Quick question before we get into it. When you think about real power inside the British royal family, who comes to mind? William? Camilla? Charles himself? Right now, according to those close to the situation, the answer is none of them. The person reportedly holding real constitutional authority, access to classified briefings, state documents, and the mechanisms that keep this country running, is said to be Anne, Councillor of State, and understood to be the most influential non-monarch in modern British royal history. This isn't sudden. According to royal historians, it's the culmination of something Queen Elizabeth began engineering over 50 years ago. Whenever the Commonwealth faced a genuine crisis, not a ceremonial inconvenience but real political tension, Elizabeth reportedly sent Anne, not to wave at crowds, but to handle the moments where a single wrong word could cause real damage. She was, allegedly, training her daughter in actual statecraft, giving her real authority to act for the crown when the Queen herself could not be there. Right at the end of her own life, Elizabeth is said to have locked it into place. In late 2022, during her final weeks, she reportedly pushed an amendment through Parliament, adding both Anne and Prince Edward permanently to the list of councillors of state. Not temporarily, for life. Why did that matter so much? Because the existing list was reportedly compromised. Harry had stepped back from royal duties and relocated to California. Andrew had become politically untouchable after his own scandals. If something had happened to Charles, the people technically eligible to exercise state power were, by most accounts, people he would never actually want holding it. Elizabeth is understood to have fixed that through Parliament, legally unassailable and dignified enough that neither Harry nor Andrew could object without looking like they were arguing for their own irrelevance. Stay with me, because that groundwork appears to be paying off right now. The trigger for this entire story is something called the Red Box, and it reportedly just landed in Anne's hands instead of Camilla's. If you don't know what that is, it isn't decoration. It's the physical case that carries everything that matters in British governance: classified intelligence, draft legislation, cabinet briefings. Each day, the monarch is expected to open that box and engage with the real machinery of running the UK. It's arguably the most tangible symbol of constitutional authority that exists. Camilla is Queen Consort. She wears the crown. She sits beside Charles at every state occasion. She is, by ceremonial rank, the second most prominent figure in the royal household. Yet when it came time to decide who actually gets to look inside that box, who handles the real business of the crown when Charles can't, the king reportedly chose his sister, not his wife. There are said to be no accidents in this family. Every decision is deliberate. So when Charles made this call, according to royal watchers, he was communicating something unmistakable. Real trust placed in Anne, and by implication, a far more limited trust extended to Camilla. That's a striking signal. So why? Start with the pressure the monarchy is reportedly under. Charles has been open about serious health issues, more openly than any monarch before him, and the public response has apparently been sympathetic. But openness doesn't solve the practical problem underneath it. You can't manage ongoing medical treatment and the daily demands of constitutional governance at the same time. Something has to give, and someone has to fill the gap. Logically, the line of succession suggests Prince William should absorb that responsibility while his father recovers. That's the textbook answer. But textbooks don't account for real life. Catherine has reportedly been recovering from a serious health battle of her own. William has 3 young children who need a present father, and he's already carrying the psychological weight of a future crown. Stack the full administrative load of an incapacitated monarch on top of that, and by most accounts, It wouldn't just stretch him thin, it could break him. Charles is said to know that, and to respect it too much to sacrifice his son's stability for the sake of protocol. So he reportedly looked elsewhere toward the one person with the experience, the institutional memory, and crucially, the near total absence of personal ambition that makes real power safe to hand over. Anne is only 2 years younger than Charles, which means she lived through the same political eras and the same defining crises that shaped his worldview. She doesn't need briefing on why certain constitutional precedents matter. She was there when they were established. Here's the detail most people overlook, and it might be the most important one. Anne is widely understood to have zero dynastic ambition. In royal politics, that's everything, because the danger of handing power to anyone close to the throne is that they'll use it to build a faction. Under the old succession rules, male preference primogeniture, Anne was technically born second and then quietly pushed further down the line as her brothers arrived. By most accounts, she simply accepted it, no public grievance, no lingering resentment, and redirected her focus from position to purpose instead. That's reportedly what makes her safe to trust with power now. When Anne walks into a room carrying that red box, nobody suspects she's doing it for herself. There's no faction behind her, no rival camp using her as leverage, and she cannot become monarch even if she wanted to. In a world where every royal gesture gets scrutinized for hidden motive, that kind of transparent integrity is hard to manufacture. Go back through Anne's honors, and this story appears to have been hiding in plain sight for decades. In 1987, Elizabeth named her Princess Royal, a title that can only belong to one person at a time, and one that traditionally comes with an expectation of lifelong service. In 1996, she was invested as a Knight of the Thistle, Scotland's highest honour, reportedly earned through genuine sustained work rather than ceremony. Then, at the 2023 coronation, Charles appointed her Gold Stick in Waiting, a role historically reserved for the person the monarch trusts most with their personal safety. There she was, in full military uniform, on horseback, directly behind the gold state coach, broadcast to the entire world. According to observers, that wasn't ceremony. That was a declaration. Her husband, Vice Admiral Sir Timothy Lawrence, factors into this too. He entered royal life in the mid-1980s as a young naval officer serving as an equerry to Queen Elizabeth, reportedly without ever seeking the spotlight himself. Anne is said to complete more than 450 official engagements a year, more than almost any other working royal, and that pace requires a partner who can quietly absorb the pressure behind the scenes. Timothy has apparently done exactly that for more than 3 decades. In 2011, Elizabeth honored him with a Knight Commandership of the Royal Victorian Order. More recently, Charles reportedly elevated him to Knight Grand Cross, the highest rank in that order, a personal gift, separate from any government process, said to signal exactly how much the king values what Timothy has provided. There's also a layer to this story that rarely gets mentioned. Back in the early 1970s, before she was Camilla Parker Bowles, Camilla was reportedly in a relationship with Andrew Parker Bowles, a man said to have shared a genuine, mutual connection with Anne, built around a common love of horses. That relationship allegedly couldn't go anywhere permanent because Parker Bowles was Catholic, which the rules of the time did not allow. Anne went on to marry Mark Phillips. Andrew married Camilla. They later divorced, and Charles and Camilla eventually found their way to each other. Decades later, the woman once connected to a man Anne loved is now said to be watching Anne hold the real power, while she herself remains at a careful distance from it. Camilla has the crown. She reportedly does not have the red box. William and Catherine's response says a great deal about where things currently stand. Both are understood to have been visibly supportive of Anne's elevated role. William has reportedly described her as an institutional shield, someone whose integrity is so unimpeachable that her presence protects everyone around her from scrutiny. At major public events, William and Catherine have appeared to deliberately step back, letting Anne take the foreground, which royal commentators read as active support rather than competition. For William, there's also said to be a practical upside. Anne carrying the administrative weight gives him space to be present for Catherine's recovery, to be a father to George, Charlotte, and Louis, and to prepare for kingship on a timeline that doesn't overwhelm him. One moment reportedly crystallized all of this for the public. In a BBC documentary about the coronation year, Anne did something royals rarely do. She spoke with unusual honesty. She described her mother's final days at Balmoral, revealing that Elizabeth had allegedly worried about dying there because of the logistics it would create for others. Anne is said to have told her simply, "Forget that, be where you want to be, you've given 70 years to this, you've earned it." She reportedly went further, describing the moment she watched the imperial state crown lifted from her mother's coffin and feeling something like relief. Not because she wasn't grieving, but because she understood the weight that crown represented and understood that it had finally lifted. That kind of raw honesty about duty and cost is something the British public had rarely heard from a royal before, and it appears to have shown people exactly why Anne is considered the right person for this moment. Step back, and this looks like more than a family arrangement. For generations, the palace's survival strategy reportedly relied on projection, the illusion of a family untouched by ordinary struggle. Charles has apparently abandoned that approach. He went public with his cancer diagnosis. Catherine went public with hers. And now placing Anne at the center, openly acknowledging that Charles needs help carrying the burden, doesn't read as weakness. According to royal analysts, it may be the most honest move a modern monarchy could make, and the public appears to be responding with something the old image never quite generated: trust. So here's where it currently stands, according to those watching closely. Camilla reportedly holds the title. Anne appears to hold the power. Charles is said to have looked at his wife and looked at his sister and made his choice. Will Camilla ever close that gap? Is this a permanent shift, or a season shaped by extraordinary circumstances? And when William eventually inherits the crown, does Anne's role keep evolving, or does she finally step back? These aren't small questions. They're questions about the future shape of the British monarchy itself, and right now, at the center of all of them, is a woman in her 70s, in military uniform, who reportedly never wanted the spotlight, never demanded recognition, and never positioned herself for anything. She just kept showing up, kept doing the work, and kept being exactly who she always was. History has a way of rewarding that kind of person, and it looks like history, along with King Charles, is finally doing exactly that. If this changed how you see Princess Anne, let me know what shifted for you in the comments, and subscribe, because the next chapter of this story is reportedly already unfolding.